guys. Just a second. Who else can I say hi to? Hey, Carla, how you doing? I know that all my colleagues that, since I've been hired, they've learned a little bit of Italian. You guys can practice that today, so that's super exciting. Getting there? Here we go. You give me a countdown. Is the light okay? Should I? All good? We're live? 2, 1, here we go. All right. Ciao a tutti. Hello everyone, welcome to the College of Architecture and Design at Lawrence Technological University, and welcome to those joining online through our YouTube channel. I'm your host today, so my name is Sara Kodarin. I'm an assistant professor of architecture here at COED. At the college, we believe that the future of design is multidisciplinary, and we host a range of professional design degrees amplified by technology. Our college lecture series allows us to engage in design discussions and offer broad perspectives on where we're headed. So before we get down to business today, I wanted to announce our next lecture, which will be on September 23rd, so note that down, at 12:30 p.m. with Mohamed Ismail, assistant professor at University of Virginia School of Architecture. So we'll see you there then. Now, I'm very excited to introduce today's speakers for our very first lecture of the fall 2025 COED lecture series, Andrea Rinaldi, Maddalena Fortelli, and Serena Foracchia, all the way from Italy, to come here and meet you all guys. Andrea Rinaldi is architect and lecturer of architectural and urban composition at the Department of Architecture of the University of Ferrara, which is my alma mater. And Maddalena Fortelli is an architect and urban planner with extensive experience in urban design and city regeneration. Serena Foracchia is a consultant and expert in European project design, international relations, and professional training. So I'll start with you, Andrea. So Andrea was my instructor in Italy in my very first design studio, similar to ID1 here at COED. Yesterday, 15 years after we first met, he joined the desk crits of my ID1 section. How cool is that? It was super exciting. Having Andrea as a first studio instructor was influential in shaping my path as a designer. He had a way of helping you simplify things. When you're just starting out as a designer, you want to use every single idea you come across. Instead, he would remind us, and during desk crits, he would do this. And he would say, serve un'idea secca, which means you need a dry idea, meaning distilled, clear, legible, and communicable. And something happens here, guys, so help me out with the tech, with the technology. True to form, yesterday, he pulled out a thick red Sharpie and marked up heavily all my students' progress drawings. My students are still recovering from that experience, but I hope the conversation helped you guys the same way it once helped me when I was in your shoes. And now a few words about the team. Andrea, Maddalena, and Serena represent the local chapter of the Association of Architects in Reggio Emilia, and they've been doing something together really important. With the support of a grant from the Italian Ministry of Culture, they created a festival called Rigenera, built around what we all care about most, which is architecture. While developing the grant, they reached out and they asked if we wanted to collaborate as a college. And I said, yeah, of course, that sounds cool. In our first meeting, they go, what should we do together? How about a workshop? Maybe something between LTU and the University of Ferrara. And I said, let me think about it. I can only do nerd things, so if it's something nerd, I'm in. Should we do something with AI? And so that happened. So our proposal was awarded, and this team, through the grant, sponsored travel for 4 COED students to spend a week in Italy, working side by side with their Italian peers. In an intensive workshop, they used AI to generate ideas for the regeneration of an abandoned warehouse in the city of Reggio Emilia. How cool is that? Today we are here to celebrate the work of Regenera. The team will share with you some of the architectural ideas that came out of the festival that happened in April. And among many events they organized, they also created a design award for build projects on architectural regeneration. And the winning and entry projects alongside the AI workshop results are exhibited right now in the Brick Gallery for the month of September. And you're all invited to join us for the reception and opening after the lecture. So I've done my intro duty here, so please help me welcome Andrea, Maddalena, and Serena.
Grazie. If that works, we'll see.
Yeah, so this is fun. Just don't touch things too much.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Good morning everyone. My English is not good. And so when I told at my English teacher, Anaita, that I wanted to give this talk in English, she looked very worried and said, better not. And so Serena, this is the coordinator of Regenera Architecture Festival, will translate for me. Grazie allora per essere qui e all'università per averci invitato, è un onore fare un talk qui. Grazie a Sara, che è stata una mia studentessa, una mia bravissima studentessa, e strano una cosa che non vi abbia detto, che dice tutte le volte, che gli ho dato solo 30 e non 30 lode. Puoi tradurre?
So thank you for inviting us here. Thank you for letting us be here with you at the university, giving this talk, and thank you, Sarah, for giving us this opportunity and allowing the contact with the university. She has been a very good student of mine in University of Ferrara, and it's quite odd because she hasn't told you that I just gave him a 30, which is the top grade, without honors, and that's all that she says whenever she meets somebody. Just a 30, no honors.
Immaginate di svegliarvi in una città immobile, niente cambia, niente evolve, tutto è statico. Potrebbe sembrare una cosa rassicurante, ma la mancanza di cambiamento uccide la città.
So imagine waking up in a static city. Nothing is changing, nothing is moving, nothing is changing. It may be reassuring, but it's something that is static. Without change, the city dies. Okay.
L'architettura che non cambia diventa un ostacolo per noi. Una città che non si evolve si trasforma in un museo. Ma noi abbiamo bisogno di città vive, in spazi vivi e con architetture vive.
What is static can actually generate something that is reassuring and can translate a city into a museum. But we want something, an architecture that evolves, something that is alive, something that is generative.
Un proverbio africano dice un gatto che sogna di diventare un leone deve perdere il suo appetito per i topi. In altre parole, dobbiamo cambiare il modo in cui facciamo le cose.
So an African proverb says, a cat that wants to become a lion must stop chasing mice. In other words, we need to change the way we do things. We need to change the way we do actually things.
Perché serve davvero un piano B? Perché il piano A non ha funzionato, questo posso dirlo io, because plan A didn't work.
So the question is, why do we need a plan B?
And se ci fosse il piano A avesse funzionato, non avremmo le città che sono i luoghi più inquinati del pianeta. Piantare alberi è un atto bellissimo, ma è come curare i sintomi di una malattia e non le cause della malattia.
So if the plan A had worked, we wouldn't have cities that are the most polluted places on the planet. Planting trees is a beautiful and necessary act, but it's like treating the symptoms of an illness without addressing the causes.
La tecnologia non può essere ottimizzata all'infinito, correggere le cose non basta, bisogna cambiarle.
So technology cannot be endlessly optimized. Fixing things, it's not enough. They need to be changed.
Bauman diceva: abbiamo invertito la rotta e stiamo navigando al contrario. Noi dobbiamo tornare a invertire la nostra rotta.
So Bauman said, we have reversed our course and are sailing backwards. We must reverse the course once again.
Il piano B non è un'opzione, è l'unica strada possibile ora. L'architettura deve smettere di pensare in termini di mitigazione a quello che c'è e imparare ad adattarsi alle nuove condizioni climatiche in un mondo profondamente cambiato.
So Plan B is no longer an option, it's the only possible path. Architecture must stop thinking in terms of mitigating the climate and instead learn to adapt to new conditions in a new profoundly changed world.
Bene, e allora come può l'architettura affrontare il cambiamento? Non con la sostenibilità, che non cambia lo stato delle cose. Vai.
So how can architecture address change? Not through sustainability, because sustainability actually doesn't change things.
Se vi chiedessi come va col vostro compagno, compagna, moglie o marito, e voi mi rispondeste sostenibile, mi state dicendo che non va alla grande.
So if I asked you how things are going with your husband, wife, partner, and if you'd answer to that question, sustainable, you wouldn't exactly be saying it's a great thing.
E quindi la sostenibilità è solamente la correzione a un processo, ma non cambia lo stato delle cose.
So sustainability is actually a correction to a process that doesn't work. It's not actually changing things.
Una soluzione è l'appropriatezza, che è fare solo ciò che è giusto, solo ciò che serve, dove serve, quando serve. È il contrario dell'architettura del rifiuto, dello spreco.
So a solution could be appropriateness. Being appropriate means doing only what is right. It means choosing what is needed, where is needed, and how it is needed. It's the exact opposite of an architecture of waste generating waste.
Shigeru Ban ce lo insegna, le sue architetture di cartone non sono sostenibili, sono appropriate. L'appropriatezza è una condizione radicale, sobria, responsabile per progettare l'architettura.
So Shigeru Ban has taught this to us. His cardboard architectures are not just sustainable, they're appropriate. So appropriateness is radical, sober, and responsible condition for architectural design.
Come definiamo ciò che è giusto? Ci sono 3 principi. Il primo è sufficienza. Abbiamo costruito troppo, ora dobbiamo costruire meglio. Limitare il nostro intervento a ciò che è necessario e costruire edifici più semplici, più leggeri, minimi, flessibili e circolari.
So how do we define what is actually right? There are three principles that we need to consider, and the first is sufficiency. What does this mean? We have built too much. Now we need to build better. We must limit our intervention to what is truly necessary. Simpler, lighter, minimal, flexible, circular.
Spazi dalla dimensione necessaria, niente di più e niente di meno. Meno metri quadrati, più aria, più luce, più dignità.
So spaces need to have the necessary dimension, only the necessary dimensions, nothing more, nothing less. Fewer square meters, more air, more light, more dignity.
Il secondo principio è efficacia. Abbiamo confuso l'efficacia con l'efficienza e costruiamo edifici obesi, inutilmente complicati, e l'efficienza non può più correggere quegli errori. Non ce l'hai?
No, efficacia?
Sì.
So the second principle is effectiveness. We have to build edifici base.
Obesi.
We don't have to build obese buildings,
Inutilmente complicati.
which are too excessively complicated.
Questo è considerato l'edificio più sostenibile al mondo, ad Amsterdam.
This is considered the most sustainable building in the world in Amsterdam.
Ma è questa la nostra idea di futuro e di modernità?
Is this really our idea of future and modernity?
L'architettura appropriata è semplice, è magra, non è obesa e complicata.
So the appropriate architecture is simple, is slim. It's not complicated.
Il terzo principio è consistenza.
So
Come usiamo gli edifici e le città?
So the third principle is consistency. How do we use buildings and cities?
L'architettura fino ad ora è servita per proteggerci dai climi ostili, creando dei rifugi sicuri. Oggi non può più limitarsi a fare questo. È tempo di adattarsi al clima, alle emergenze e ai conflitti.
So how do we use buildings and city? Until now, architecture has served us to protect us from hostile climates by creating safe spaces, but today this is no longer enough. It's time to adapt to the climate, to adapt to emergencies, to adapt to conflicts.
Progettare spazi inclusivi, aperti, interdisciplinari. Non basta costruire edifici, bisogna costruire relazioni, spazi in grado di accogliere usi diversi all'interno della loro vita.
So planning spaces must be inclusive, open and interdisciplinary. It's not enough to build structures, we must build relationships, connection, spaces capable of embracing different uses throughout their life.
E allora, come fare? Per venire qui dall'Italia, noi non abbiamo comprato un aereo, ma abbiamo comprato il servizio del posto sull'aereo.
So what's the path? How do we do it? To get here from Italy, we didn't buy actually an airplane, we just bought the service of a seat on an airplane.
La proprietà è separata dall'uso del bene.
Ownership is and could be separated from the use of a product.
Quindi dobbiamo pensare all'architettura non come un bene, ma come un servizio alle persone.
So we must think of architecture not as delivering goods, rather as allowing services. So a service, not a product.
Non compro il bene, compro il servizio.
I don't buy the product, but I buy the service.
Quando questo ci permette di lasciare al produttore, al costruttore, la responsabilità del bene.
So this allows us to leave the responsibility of the good, of the product, with the producer.
Quindi lui la costruisce al miglior rapporto qualità-prezzo perché ottimizza il massimo del guadagno.
So he builds it with the best quality-price ratio to maximize profit.
La costruisce con bassi costi di gestione e di manutenzione perché li dovrà pagare lui durante il corso della vita.
The producer obviously is interested in designing it with low operating and energy costs to reduce the expenses of the product throughout its life.
Ma soprattutto, se la costruisce con materiali riusabili, il suo valore al momento della dismissione sarà molto molto più alto.
But above all, if he builds it with a reusable process and reusable materials, its value at the moment of deconstruction, at the end of the life of the product, will be much higher.
Quindi un'architettura pensata con l'economia circolare. Questo è un edificio sociale rigenerato con questi concetti a Bolzano, in Italia, all'interno di un progetto europeo chiamato Sinfonia.
So an architecture designed with the circular economy approach. This that you see on screen is a social housing building that has been regenerated using these concepts. And it has been developed within a European project called Sinfonia in Bolzano, in Italy.
Un concorso europeo vinto dallo studio in cui lavoro, in cui faccio architettura, un edificio del 1959 fatto vivere nel 2020.
A European competition that has been won by my firm, my practice, Laboratorio di Architettura, and it involved a 1959 building that has been adapted to 2020.
40 appartamenti abitati che dovevano rimanere abitati durante la rigenerazione.
So 40 occupied apartments that had to remain inhabited during construction work.
Un intervento tutto dall'esterno, componenti, blocco loggia e blocco finestra, quelli bianchi e rossi nella foto, costruiti a secco off-site con materiali riutilizzabili e assemblati in cantiere.
So an intervention that was carried out entirely from the outside of the building. Components, the loggia block, the window block, built off-site with dry, reusable materials and assembled on-site.
Here is the before and then the after. Efficienza energetica, energie alternative, un nuovo sistema di teleriscaldamento, tetti verdi, recupero dell'acqua, protezione solare e nuovi materiali recuperabili, legno, alluminio, vetro, ferro, sono le caratteristiche tecnologiche di questo nuovo edificio.
Energy efficiency, alternative energies, a new district heating system, green roofs, water recovery, solar protection, new reusable materials such as wood, aluminum, glass, steel are the technological features. A building that adapts to time, sufficient, effective and consistent.
Ok. Questo è lo Sciliar, la montagna icona delle Dolomiti in Italia. Io vorrei andare ad abitare in una di quelle casette di legno che vedete lì.
So this is the Sciliar, and it's an iconic mountain on the Dolomites in Italy, and he's saying that he would love to go and live in a small place in this area.
Le Corbusier diceva che le Dolomiti sono la più bella architettura della Terra. Noi dobbiamo imparare dalle Dolomiti, dalla natura, per riuscire a progettare nuovi edifici adatti al futuro.
So Le Corbusier used to say that the Dolomites are the most beautiful architecture on Earth. So we have to learn from the Dolomites. We have to learn from nature to actually make sure that we build an architecture is shaping a future.
Chiudo con questa immagine di Giorgio Armani, che è recentemente scomparso, il re della moda, il re dello style, che diceva che non è importante farsi notare, ma è importante farsi ricordare. Allora o continuiamo a seguire il topo e non andiamo da nessuna parte, o cominciamo a ruggire come dei leoni e riusciamo a cambiare le cose.
So I close with an image, which is the image of Giorgio Armani. You might know him. Giorgio Armani recently passed away a couple of days ago, and he has been the king of fashion, king of design, so he's a very important reference. And as he used to say, it's not important that you get noticed. The important is that you will be remembered. So either we keep chasing the mouse or we finally start roaring like lions.
Grazie a tutti per avermi ascoltato, grazie a Serena per aver tradotto e grazie a Sara per avermi invitato.
Thank you all for having listened to my presentation, and thank you, Sarah, for having invited us here.
Sì.
Sì, facciamo.
So one more part, just to talk about the framework of the Regenera Festival. So in the meantime, while we set up for the next short lecture, I just wanted to acknowledge the presence of two of our students who attended the workshop in Italy. So Sam and Dane, thanks for coming today, and hopefully that's just like you feel like it's good memories to be here and to think about your time working in Italy. So I'll pass it to you, so the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody. You will be hearing a lot my voice, not because I'm the author of the previous presentation. I was just a voice supporting. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. Following the presentation of Professor Rinaldi, my talk today will have a task to provide you with a wider or narrower picture. That is the Regenera Festival. Regenera Festival is the picture, the framework that has accompanied us through important partnerships, friendships, projects, and also political statements. This is Regenera. I have a video, I don't know if it's working, let's see. It's the audio that I don't know if it's working. It's not working, it's not going on. Non va. Non va. So the images that you are seeing are the images of Reggio Emilia, the city that we come from, and images of the first edition of Regenera. The verbs are to spread, share. This is the skyline of Reggio Emilia, a little bit different. Regenera is about integration. about communication. Okay, this is...
Oh, he's my miracle child.
No, this is not what I wanted to share with you. So basically the video was a statement, the initial statement that we delivered as a team through Regenera. The Regenera first edition happened in year 2020. That's why you were seeing people wearing the masks. And obviously Italy had been strongly hit by the COVID pandemic. But the action of Regenera was conceived before COVID. I don't know why this is not moving. It was 2019 when these two people, you know the faces, you've seen them around, came over to my office and they asked for a support. These two people came over to my office asking for suggestions on how to apply for a government funding. So, by the way, following the introduction, I have been on a political position. So I just ended my political term as a deputy to the mayor of Reggio Emilia, and they came in as I was relaxing after 5 years of hard work, and they said, what do you think about applying to this grant? And what started as a suggestion all of a sudden became an actual exchange. So we started sharing ideas and sharing concepts, even though my background is totally different. So I'm not an architect. I studied economics. I have a PhD in public management, and my domain is completely different. But these two people came over to me, and they wouldn't stop. They would call me and then come back again and then come back again. And I would ask myself, what have I to do with the Association of Architects? And this is a joke that has been going on for 4 editions now. I happen to be here in an architectural environment, being probably the most ignorant person in terms of architecture. But they seeked and they reached out to other disciplines. Regenera is actually more than simply a festival. Regenera is an open invitation to different thinkers. Thinkers that are covering different fields, such as philosophy. We had the main opening, we had a lecture from a philosopher of Bologna. We have people that have fields in the studies in the geography domain, economy, or human science, or also politicians. So one of the first items and one of the first concerns that Andrea was bringing to me when we first met is I need interdisciplinarity. I need to allow the transformation, the regeneration of the architect as a professional. And I would like architects of tomorrow to reinterpret their profession in a different way. This is very much in line with the speech that he just gave to you. So I'm sharing with you the video that we made. This is the second video so that you don't sleep. Okay, let's see if this is working. This is working a little bit better.
Me lo sono chiesto 1000 volte. Cosa significa essere un architetto? È così che funziona. Come un viaggiatore sceglie una strada e la percorre, da un punto all'altro, da uno spazio all'altro. Così noi vediamo il nostro lavoro. Un percorso che unisce quello che è a quello che potrebbe essere. Ma la risposta forse è più profonda e ha a che fare con lo sguardo. È interpretare la realtà, migliorarla per i bisogni di tutti, immaginarla e restituire un valore per tutto. Individuare le esigenze delle persone che mi circondano, che vivono i miei stessi spazi, e concretizzarli in luoghi nei quali vivere davvero, senza fermarsi alla forma. Perché i nostri ambienti si muovono con noi, cambiano con noi. È essere sul campo e coordinare un'unica visione. È recuperare la storia di una comunità e dargli un nuovo presente. Viaggiare nella memoria dei luoghi Questo è per me, per noi, uomini e donne, essere architetti.
Again, now I'll be very rapid through my presentation. Again, these were the concepts at the beginning when we first met. Out of this, Regenera, as I said, which is a challenge. We're challenging disciplinary boundaries. We're inviting thinkers of different disciplines. And we have actually developed talks, workshops, walks. We went in public spaces, in conference centers, and those of you who had the opportunity of being with us know how much energy is around this experience. Mostly Regenera is finding time to meet, to connect. So it's a training platform, as you know, and as you know, when you train, you need to allow yourself to have the time to gain progress. So these are images of the sharing and of what we experienced in our 4 editions. You see the first 3 editions. The 2020 was the initial one. Then we went on to a second edition, which was not supported by government funding. The third edition again was supported by government funding. And in this path, going from Regenera 1 to Regenera 4, which we are experiencing today, we changed the topics. So Regenera 1 was the city of the future, the city of tomorrow. Regenera 2 was fare con, shaping, building with, meaning the with to be inclusive. Regenera 3 has been around circularity, and here is Regenera 4. We are shifting from 3 to 4. Regenera 4 is actually Plan B. Plan B is what Andrea just told you, reshaping the urban environment, thinking that emergencies, drought, wars, economic crisis can impact the city. And you need to go beyond the initial plans, not thinking to putting a patch, but actually defining solutions that become final. This was an initial suggestion that we brought to Regenera 1 that actually was meaningful to Regenera Plan B. You know what this is? Any one of you know what this is? This is the Zaatari camp in the Middle East. It's a refugee camp. What started as a refugee camp is now a city with a mayor and is organized altogether as a city. Architects have been studying, urban planners have been studying the evolution of Zaatari. So what is actually a temporary solution addressing a situation of crisis has become a permanent condition, a living condition for many, many families. This is the invitation. Some keywords that we shared during the meetings in April, awareness concerning emergencies, but also taking responsibility and sharing and finding and seeking participatory solutions. So we asked some questions. We never end Regenera with a formal conclusion. So is the architecture of hesitation possible? Is architecture of detour possible? So can we actually shape places of uncertainty, places that somehow are generating within us a tension, not a safe condition, rather a condition that is always, seeking for something, addressing the need to be with somebody. So these are some of the concepts that we dealt with. Responsibility is what we underlined and stressed, and basically we need to generate awareness and acceptance of what is unforeseen, and we need to incorporate that unforeseen into the planning. This is just a suggestion or some sort of provocation. Is the planning a patch or a policy? Is the Plan B a patch that we are putting on a predefined development plan that we want? Or is it actually a policy? Are we shaping things differently? How many people were with us this year? This edition, 2,500 people were debating and working with us. Over 50 collaboration, and obviously the interesting part is that Regenera, as you are experiencing today, is going in 5 different countries around the world. One is the US, but Regenera has already been to Libya. Regenera is going in a few weeks to Lebanon. We will be in a couple of days in Brussels, reaching out to the European community, and we will be going to Mozambique, which is the last stop of Regenera 2025 edition. So thank you very much, and this is one of the pillars of Regenera, Teresa. She is our reference for the secretary events, and we are very happy to share all this with you. Whenever we end one edition, I'm looking at Andrea now, we say no more. And then we happen to have another Regenera. So if we find enough strength and effort to continue, you will see us around again, and hopefully this is just a start of a worldwide community that will evolve with us. Thank you very much. Yeah, the last. I keep it short. Don't worry, I keep it short. Sorry for my poor English. I hope you understand, but if you don't understand, Serena can translate. And you know, my name is Maddalena. I am an architect, but most of my work is in urban planning. I am a responsible of the urban planning office of Valdenza, an area in Emilia-Romagna that includes 7 municipalities. I also collaborate with the Association of Architects of Reggio Emilia, and I am the artistic director of the Regenera Festival. Today I'm very happy to share with you this experience of Regenera World 2025 and to reflect together on architecture as care, as responsibility and transformation. Sorry. The Regenera Award, you can find this material in the catalog or the display panel. The Regenera Award is not about spectacular or iconic action. It celebrates a different idea: architecture that is consistent, responsible, and socially meaningful. Architecture here is not about erasing the past, but about regenerating it, giving it new life. And as architect Andrea Rinaldi writes and told you, regeneration means having the courage to imagine what does not yet exist. Too often, we only act when a building is already abandoned. But true architecture looks forward. It anticipates change and transforms what is already here into something more useful, more inclusive, and more beautiful. The jury based its choice on some clear principle: consistency and responsibility. Projects that are honest and rigorous. Respect for what already exists, for buildings, for place, and for memory. Impact on society and community, because regeneration is always about the people. Sustainability, not only as a technical efficiency, but a desire for simplicity, lightness, and quality. Use value, not just aesthetic. The project doesn't need to show to be heard. Here is important to remember the word of Michaela Wolf, the president of the jury. Her vision guided the jury in the selection of the winning project. She said that regeneration is not about starting from zero. It's not about raising, but about listening to what already exists. Every building
even the most fragile one keeps a memory and a story. To regenerate means to take care of this heritage, to repair what is broken, and to transform it with respect. The Gold Prize was awarded to Corte René, a rural village near Lake Garda. This project is an example of balance between the old and new, where tradition and innovation live together. It shows how architecture can be simple and poetic at the same time. Old stone receive new life, and the project transforms space into really place for people. The Silver Prize went to Bescotti Rimbaud Foundation in Lecce. Here, a historic residence was transformed into a contemporary museum. The intervention is minimal, but at the same time full of cultural meaning. Past wall now contain future culture. It's a work of continuity, but without imitation. Bronze Prize, awarded to Capua 1880 in Calabria. An obsolete industrial site has been regenerated and now works as a modern production hub. The project restored dignity to a forgotten structure, transforming it into architecture with a new meaning. It also offers a model for other large abandoned industrial areas in Italy. Industry is reborn. The Emilia-Romagna Prize went to the project in Ripoli. It's a work of participatory urban regeneration. Here, public space became a device for community life. What makes this project special is the strong coherence between process and design. The way the project was done is reflect the result. A village rebuilt together. The honorable mention was given to the tennis club in Erba. It shows how even small intervention can create a big social impact. With very limited resources, the project transformed in a simple space into a hub for the community. This is a perfect example of how small change can bring life back to a place. Regeneration is not a technical act. Is an act of kindness toward the world. It means rewriting instead of erasing, dialogue instead of domination. This is why the key words are consistent, respect, social impact, sustainability, and value. In my hour reflection, I speak about design uncertainty. Urban regeneration is not only about buildings, it's about people and the life that grow between them. To regenerate means to accept complexity and fragility, to transform them into opportunities. It is about opening space for relationship, for encounter, for community. Regeneration is not a final imaging, but a living process that keeps changing. As the architect Lacaton and Vassal remind us, never demolish what could be redeemed. Make sustainable what already exists. This truth is very close to the spirit of a regenerative world. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this example of regeneration can inspire you as a future architect, and not to create new words, but to make habitable what seemed lost. Thanks.
Are you actually done now? Okay, no. Okay, that's great. You guys can sit here. We have 4 minutes. I think we can do expedite Q&A. Thanks so much for your lecture. Thanks for sharing those great ideas on regeneration at large. I think is very much relevant. You can leave it there. In the context of Detroit, those are things we're dealing with in Detroit and in the Metro Detroit area. So thinking about the existing, existing buildings and how to take care of them and how to valorize them and give them a new life. I want to ask the audience if there are any questions. Nothing from online? All right. Over there. Okay. Speak. Here, though. I got you.
Magari fai una traduzione
Hi.
veloce perché non capiamo.
Hi. Thank you for your presentation. I was just curious because you talked about coming from a background in politics and policy making, that this conference also seems to be a great opportunity for collective organizing in a political sense. I ask because some of these things I think we as designers understand the importance of, and the act a lot of times is to convince everyone else that it's also important. Just so curious about your efforts in doing that, or any thoughts on that.
Ok, thank you. Lei è interessata alla parte politica, quindi allo sforzo che abbiamo fatto per raggiungere la politica. E puoi rispondere tu? So I can address this question directly, or are we collecting other questions, or should I go straight? Okay. So the idea is from the gentleman that you see on my right side. So being the president of the association, he is engaging, outreaching to different stakeholders at the local level, and I happened to be one of the stakeholders. And in the dialogue initially, it was there was a very close connection. So it wasn't just me. The association has constant ties with the administration, especially on the Regenera Festival. So, for example, the whole dimension of inclusiveness has been thought and designed with one of the deputies that was in charge of inclusiveness. Vuoi dire tu del Placemaking Week?
Okay. Puoi dire anche che la rigenerazione non può avvenire se non attraverso i meccanismi di collaborazione.
Okay. So Maddalena is highlighting also that regeneration never happens if you don't have these ties, these collaborations that you are able to activate. And another example of this last edition of Regenera Festival is that we linked with another deputy that is in charge of city participation, and Regenera is now going into another festival that is called Placemaking, the Placemaking Week, which is a movement that is happening worldwide, and it's actually starting in this week in Reggio Emilia, the placemaking events. So it's an open connection with the political world and dimension.
Thanks again for being here and for your presentations. My question was, when the repurposing is maybe very different from the original use, how have you found ways to incorporate the memory of what the space was originally used for?
Thank you. Allora, come incorpori la memoria? Quando rifunzionalizzi un edificio e l'uso è totalmente diverso dall'uso originario, come fai a incorporare la memoria nell'edificio? Rispondi tu, rispondi in italiano e ti traduco.
La memoria esiste nell'edificio per conto suo e quindi è insita dentro l'edificio.
So he's saying memory exists within the building. So it's deeply rooted within that building. You have to understand what is laying in that building. It's actually breathing that DNA. You just need to bring it back to life.
For this region, is more important for the student to study. The first is studying the place, studying who stay in this place, and this, study the old memory that you can breathe in the place. You have to go, you have to incontrare, meet the other people, and we stay and we study.
So one of the persons that were actually in the jury was saying you need time. You need to dedicate time to listening, to meeting, to experiencing that space, that environment. Ok, la domanda è quando si lavora con edifici che hanno questo forte valore storico, con chi lavori? È facile o come si lavora con gli artigiani, con le persone che magari sono in grado di maneggiare i materiali recuperando l'antico, introducendo il moderno, e come gestisci questo mix e dove e come trovi e gestisci questi artigiani, questi esperti della materia?
Allora,
Vai, voce alta.
Voce alta che così.
Fino ad ora abbiamo utilizzato gli artigiani. Gli artigiani stanno scomparendo dal mercato delle costruzioni. Dobbiamo trovare un nuovo modo in cui l'industria entra dentro a questi sistemi storici senza devastarli, ma costruendo fuori e portando dentro gli elementi costruiti.
Okay, so until now we've been working with craftsmen, but these are gradually disappearing because nobody is taking on their legacy. So we need to somehow allow the industry, the companies, to learn from this experience and to find new solutions, new ways of doing things, allowing the new solution to be somehow composed before they get into the building. So they can be assembled inside the building with the total respect of what was there in the building before.
Puoi dire che siamo molto indietro come Italia, ma forse l'intelligenza artificiale può essere la chiave per andare avanti.
So as Italians, we're lagging a little bit behind, but it could be that the AI is actually helping us in this process of bringing industry in this field. But keeping that artwork of the craftsman, bringing it to the industry and allowing it to be not invasive, but capable of respecting and intervening in a very, very delicate context.
Well, thanks for all the questions. I think I would like to bring this to the conclusion. I do want to ask Andrea in particular one last question, since you've been teaching for such a long time, and we have in the audience many first-year and second-year students. So what would be one, suggestion or starting point, just something important to you to communicate to them that is important to undertake their career as designers? Un consiglio per gli studenti del primo e secondo anno.
Traduci tu o traduco io?
Un consiglio, uno solo.
Una idea secca, just one dry idea that you want to share with all of them before we
Che devi studiare.
So,
why is that?
No, allora la creatività non nasce per caso. La creatività, alla base della creatività c'è la conoscenza. Più conoscete, più imparate a essere creativi. È un po' come... poi vai.
So the suggestion, he said just one, and Sarah said yes, just one. Very, very, very dry idea. So the idea is study. Study hard, because creativity is a process that doesn't come by chance. Creativity is based on knowledge. So the stronger you are in your knowledge, the more creative you can actually be.
Immaginate che il vostro cervello sia l'hard disk di un computer e avete una sola cartella e dovete andare a fare un progetto e prendete da quella cartella. magari il progetto vi viene anche bene, ma al secondo progetto tornate a prendere solo da quella cartella e non procedete mai nel vostro progresso di progettazione.
So think of your brain, of your mind as a computer. So your hard disk, on your hard disk you just have one folder or one file. So the first project you do, you dig into this folder and you get ideas from your knowledge from this folder. And maybe it goes well and it's fine. But then you come to a second project and you always pick your ideas from the same folder. So the project is just the same.
Immaginate ora di avere tante cartelle e avete sviluppato la capacità di mettere assieme le cartelle in maniera sempre diversa. La vostra creatività sarà al massimo, quindi più voi conoscete l'architettura, più conoscete anche discipline al di fuori dell'architettura, più sarete capaci di progettare e costruire edifici che sanno guardare al futuro e non al passato.
So the more folders you have, the more capable you are of generating ideas, and not just simply archiving your folders separately, but also connecting them in many different ways. This brings to ideas and generates more and more possible connection. So the more you know, and the more you expand your domains to other fields, to other possible knowledge, the more you will be actually capable of developing new projects.
I think this was great. Everyone, make sure you take a look at the exhibition. There are some very exciting and inspiring projects there. Thank you so much for being here today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you, guys. Thank you.